Here we go again, Phil. Good evening, it's Nightline.
Yeah, hi Bruce. Great to see you. And I've just come from, well, a few hours ago, wonderful lunch at Jeff's Shed. You and I are proudly ambassadors of Australia Day, and this was put on by Australia Post. And as you might know already, today they honoured the great tennis players.
Oh, yes, they did too.
And they included, and they are now on stamps, which you can purchase from tomorrow. The people who receive this accolade are Pat Cash, Ashley Cooper, Roy Emerson, Neil Fraser, Yvonne Goolagong-Cawley, John Newcombe, Pat Rafter, Tony Roach, Ken Rosewall, Frank Sedgman, Fred Stolley and Leighton Hewitt. And most of them were at the lunch today.
Oh, good.
And were interviewed by Lavinia Nixon. It was
How wonderful.
a lovely occasion, more so for me because at my table were Pete Smith, Greg Evans, John Blackman and David Parkin. So I was surrounded by chums, because often you can go to these functions, like a wedding, you can be sat at a table where you don't know anybody.
Well, that's what terrifies you more, who you'll be sitting with.
Yes, of course.
Doesn't it? You know, that really puts the wind up your clacker.
And you might be making small talk with people you'll never see again and don't care about anyway.
Well, that's right. And so who are the people at the table that you hope to see again?
Oh, well, those people I mentioned, I'd be delighted to see them anytime. And the others who were strangers to me until today were delightful company. It was such a wonderful day, and they turned on a good lunch.
Oh, how wonderful.
So that was the Australia Post Australia Day lunch, but listen to what happened to me last night. And it could happen to any of us. I happened to sleep in a queen-size bed, which is fairly large, and during the night, I actually, in my sleep, I fell out of bed. I was having a dream that I was plunging into a deep river, and the next thing I knew, thud, and the dog started barking. He was out in the hall. But as I fell in my sleep, I pushed off the mantle radio, the bed lamp I had there, everything that was on my little table by my bed. I could have cracked my head open. I could have broken my hip again.
Easy.
I got such a fright.
Oh, you would.
And I thought during the night, I know we've got guests coming in, but I thought, has anything similar to that happened to you while you were asleep? I know you have a tendency to sleepwalk,
Yes,
for
I
example.
do, and I've gone up the side of the house and I have cleared weeds,
Yes.
and I've done raking at 3 o'clock in the morning.
I know.
I've even gone to a wardrobe to thinking it was a bathroom.
Yes, I know. But worse, you could get your car keys and drive somewhere,
Well, of
couldn't
course you could. That still knocks without putting too
Yes.
much a name on it.
Yeah.
Created people, they'd get up and make a roast in the middle of the night.
I know. Well, I worry when
Or
you...
get up and cluck a chicken.
Yes, I think he said that. But what I worry about when you and Jill are on a cruise, that you could walk over the balcony.
Well, I have done that. I've said I'm getting out of bed and I'm going to the balcony. She said, idiot features, get back into bed. She said, what are you doing? I said, I'm taking a group of people onto this balcony to show them the side of the ship.
You need to be tethered to a bedpost or something.
Well, you really do. You need a lasso around your legs.
So I'm in future going to sleep in the middle of the bed because it really gave me a fright. I could have done myself quite an injury.
Easy. Now, listen, just getting back to business, Phil, stay tuned tonight for your chance to win a double return ticket to any Tigerair destination in Australia, thanks to Tigerair flying from the new Terminal 4 at Melbourne International Airport. Now, the winner can go to anywhere in Australia, Phil, including, Brisbane, Cairns, Coffs Harbour, Darwin, Gold Coast, Hobart.
Hey, yes, but there's more good news. You'll also, in 2 weeks, go into the draw for the major prize, return airfares and a week's accommodation for a whole family at the Hotel Mercure Bali Legion, thanks to Tigerair, who will fly direct from Melbourne to Bali daily from March the 23rd.
But for heaven's sake, don't ring now. When you hear the song, and we will get Bianca to make the decision as to, she'll play the song when it's at her disposal.
Yes.
Twice tonight.
Yeah.
And you'll win that fabulous prize. But be prepared to tell us where you want to go in Australia.
That's right. And if you're not a winner tonight, there's tomorrow night and all next week as well. So you have still about 6 chances, and perhaps I'll remember when. Fabulous. One of the best prizes we've ever had, Bruce. Fabulous
Well,
prize.
it certainly is. Yes, you're right. Now, Claire at Chelsea leads us off tonight, Phil.
Hi, Claire. Welcome.
Hi. I just want to know, I'm going to China for a holiday in March, and I just want to know what sort of food to expect.
Well, Chinese food, but different from the Chinese food you'd have here. It's to me, more bland.
I sort of don't really eat much Chinese food. Is there any... I'm more vegetarian. Will I still be be able to get vegetarian.
Yes, where exactly are you going, Claire?
Beijing and
Yeah.
then Shanghai.
So there's a sprinkling of a lot of Western restaurants there that you could get Western food, steaks, chops, anything you want to. Trouble is, I went to Hong Kong and all I ate was Chinese food, and towards the end of 2 weeks, I couldn't wait to get out of it.
I know, I'm always starving after I've eaten a
We're not
Chinese
so
meal.
much starving, but you just get sick of the blandness.
Oh, the noodles and the rice.
Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
you
And
sit there.
get noodles and plain, you know. I don't like soya sauce or any of that.
No, I'm not too keen either.
But the good news is you're probably staying at a, 4 or 5 star hotel, and they would cater for people like you, even in their restaurant, Claire.
They would
Oh,
they?
absolutely, yes.
Oh, well, that makes me feel better. I'm just sort of thinking, oh, help.
Oh, no. That you'll get a lot of Chinese fare there, but at the same time, on the menu will be Western food.
All right, Claire, let us know when you come back how you got on, won't you? Goodbye now.
All right, goodbye now. 13 past 10, 3AW. Oh, goodness me, look at these guests. First of all, there's Andy Mack. I don't like that name. I don't like Andy Mack. I like Andrew McLaren.
Thank you so much, Bruce, and how good to see you making a triumphant return as I am tonight to the hallowed halls of Nightline Radio. Phil Brady, good morning to you. Good evening to you.
After such a long absence.
Oh, you're fabulous to see you
But
too.
I didn't know we could afford you. I didn't know our budget went
Andrew,
that
just
far.
turn around, because across the bridge of life from Channel 9 to 3AW,
And running all the way.
clad only in what?
Well,
Toga. I borrowed the one out of your mini miner that year.
It's Peter Hitchener from Channel 9. Now, you boys would have worked together, wouldn't you, somewhere along the line?
Yes,
Yes, we have, actually, on 2 occasions.
We're just discussing it just
That's right.
now, as a
And
matter
we-
of fact.
And those personalities and beautiful music. 3AK.
1503, 3AK,
Oh, yes.
your station for beautiful
There's a
music.
seagull.
Yes, it's
swooping over us.
and a seagull, which brings to mind the beautiful music of 3AK. Everything in Melbourne was suggestive of 3AK. 1503, if you listen to the station.
yes,
It was so funny.
This is when Peter was really just more a toiler in the mill of radio. Before fame and fortune called him pure. Because you were told
don't
while I
think
was
it did.
while I was at 3AK,
Yes.
that you were doing news work, of course, on TV.
Yes, in the evenings.
Channel 9.
Late news breaks,
That's
mainly.
right.
Nothing's
But then-
changed.
but, no, it has. You know,
No,
being
it
too
hasn't.
humble. Please, I don't like it when you do your humble act. It doesn't ring true with me, you know. Anyway, he was doing the breakfast, and someone came and tapped him on the shoulder. Wasn't that true? And said,
Yes.
look, Peter,
You've got to make up
drop
your
the
mind.
radio.
Yes,
It's
you've got to
TV
make
or
up your
radio.
mind, TV or radio. And I thought, but I'm enjoying both. What are you talking about? But anyway, these things happen.
Well, and look at what happened to you since
yeah,
then.
I think I'll go back to radio. No, it's all's good, all's well, and it's been nice. But it's just
what
just
a
the
good
same.
turn you did me when you had to give up 3AK in the afternoons. Who did you recommend to replace you?
Philip Brady,
Doing what?
9 News.
Replacing Peter on the music shift on 3AK.
3AK 1503.
Yeah, you did me a
Your
good
station.
turn. Thank you
Yes.
so much.
Thank you. It's a great place.
I owe you.
Well, and it's very nice now that I know now that I've worked with Boos and Philip years ago, and again now, and Andy Mack. And,
Because the
and
wheel turns full circle.
it does, and I've rejoiced as everyone has. All 3AW listeners have rejoiced in tales of Uki from Andy Mack.
Sarah, my poor wife. It was that swine Neil Mitchell, and I use the word swine advisedly. If he's listening, swine. I'll not retract it, Mansfield, because I can see in your eyes you're going jelly on this.
Well, I like to am a company man.
You always have been. And I saw Bruce. Now he is. He and Jill were painting the
Jill's
manager's
divine.
house yesterday, weren't you?
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
actually, I can believe
We have done the back porch.
And I believe you built a doghouse.
Yes,
too.
I did. Oh, no, that's tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow.
I've just been to McMaster's.
Just in time.
just in time.
Anyway, I know you're a company man, but Mitchell, in a casual off-air conversation, I happen to mention I had a nickname for my wife, and it was Ookie.
Yes.
Anyway, well, the next thing you know, Neil's on some national TV program at 8 o'clock in the morning. He does a cross to Channel 7 or something like that.
Channel 9.
I'm sorry, Channel 9. I'm terribly sorry.
Show.
Anyway, and he's mentioned this on national TV.
Yes,
and then constantly refers to it.
Yes,
and
as,
in the
as
meantime,
does Darren James, by the way,
yes,
everybody else on Friday lunch.
But it started with Mitchell, and then I tried to elicit from Neil what his wife's nickname is. Oh. And, of course, total silence. I just get the clam. Nothing.
Oh, nothing.
Nothing from him at all. I was quite put out of that. I have a feeling he calls her Mrs. Mitchell at home, and when he comes in the door, it's, I didn't enjoy the show very well today, Neil. I was listening. I think, oh, did you, Mrs.? I think it's like that.
But she's actually lovely. I've met her.
Have you met her?
Oh, yes, she's lovely. Very
got
nice.
my doubts.
Very nice. As is Jill.
Oh, no,
Jill
she is.
divine.
She's a very lovely person.
Is she? Yeah. Well, she probably has a nickname.
And I met Joanne on one occasion when I came to pick up a Luna Park jingle for Remember When, 25 years ago.
It would have to be, yes. We
Yeah.
just had a baby at that time.
That's
yeah.
right.
God, that's way back, isn't
Yes.
it? That's when we lived in Tigerair.
In Tigerair, in that mansion.
And in those days, of course, you wouldn't have got to park anywhere near the house because somebody we know and love used to drive a car that was longer than 2 blocks, made in the USA, and absolutely over the top. And his name is Andrew McLaren.
I know. It's like the things they pick people up now at the
Like a
Crown.
Hummer.
Yes. Hummer.
It was
It was
as
a
long as a
double
Hummer.
Hummer.
Yes, it was
Yes.
lovely.
Even bigger than Darren Hench's car.
Oh, yes, it is.
Yes,
Yes, way bigger. Yeah.
And Darren, I think, still drives something exotic and flamboyant
And
from the
huge,
United States and huge. What about you, Andy?
Well,
Mac?
no, that was the one that probably you're referring to was the 67 Black Fleetwood Brougham, and that was
beautiful.
That was the large. No, I think there may be a link. And actually, statistically, though, I think the 67 Fleetwood Brougham was the largest. The longest car ever produced on a commercial basis ever in the history of
You're
motoring.
kidding.
Yeah.
You're kidding.
The 67 and 68 models. And they actually shrunk them back just a little bit.
But how hard would that have been to negotiate through city traffic?
Shocking.
I
It was
imagine there was
terrible.
a bit of touch parking here and there.
What about getting into the car park at 3AW in the old dairy days?
Yes, Latrobe Street.
Oh,
terrible.
I can tell you a story about that. Remember when it was in Latrobe Street?
Yes.
And I was doing a shift at AW at the time.
With Jackie Clancy. was it?
Jackie Clancy and with Philip Adams. And one morning they said, quick, come outside. Philip Adams has arrived and his car's on fire. And he had this exotic Jaguar sports car which decided it was going to spontaneously combust.
Right.
And so there we are trying to put it out. Unsuccessfully, I might tell you.
me.
So it just goes to show there was drama off air as well as on air back
Very
in
much
those
so.
days.
That cobbled courtyard, how
Yes,
we all
that's
remember
right.
it well, don't
And
we?
the newsroom off to one side.
Did anyone ever see the ghost of 3AW?
No.
Oh, it's reported that David Mann saw it. It played a trick on me one night. I had a music shift, 6 till midnight. I was in the building only with someone in the newsroom, which was down in the courtyard. There was no one else. I needed to go to the bathroom. I was playing a 45 called Music by John Miles, which is part A and part B, double-sided 45. And I thought, gee, I'm not going to get back from the toilet in time to turn the record over. So I rushed back to the studio to find part 2 was already playing. The ghost had turned the record over for me.
Oh, good heavens.
Yes,
Isn't that
absolutely.
amazing?
True story.
So you didn't have to rush after all?
No, I was free to go back and complete my
Finish off.
ablutions.
Oh, good
That
stuff.
would have been Norman Banks.
Oh,
He'd
Norman.
be haunting the corridor late at night.
And Norman, where did you go for coffee today? Was it down the road in Elizabeth?
I went to Elizabeth Street. I went to the Mayfair tea rooms with a very good friend of mine, my Lord Overman from Furniture City.
And perhaps on the way back you stopped in at Reliance Home Appliances in Swanston
This
Street.
afternoon, I'm not going to stay long. I have to go out to New Oakley Motors.
Pick up a new Anglia.
That's right, exactly.
Which I haven't paid anything for.
No, of course not.
No, so true. Gentlemen, can I start with I'd love to get those phones activated
Oh,
here, if
yes.
I can. And really, what scared you? I'm going to start with you, Peter. What scared you as a child? With me, it was clowns. They're meant to be humorous.
yes.
I found them totally frightening.
Isn't it amazing
And I
how
remember being
many-
at a circus at Burnley Oval there in Richmond with Mum. I must have been 4 or 5 years old. Hated the clowns. Just hated them. Turned the face away.
Yes, isn't that funny? So many people feel the same way. And when you look at a clown now, you can kind of understand it because it's a kind of grotesque grimace that they go on with.
You know, other kids, they see shapes in the night when they're lying in bed. It was really the main thing with me was clowns.
I don't remember having any real fears as a child, but I love seeing kids sitting on Santa's knees screaming screaming.
Yes,
It's so funny.
Santa does scare them sometimes, doesn't he? Yeah.
well, Father
hilarious.
Christmas terrified me.
Really?
Yes,
Really?
at 45, I couldn't stand those knees.
You know what scared me? Those high diving boards at swimming pools. I'd bravely
No, but
climb them.
characters rather than
Well, no, I
diving
think that can be anything.
No, they scared me. No, like I'd climb the ladder and think, oh, you know, off I go
Off I
and
go.
do a belly whacker, and then I'd see how far down it is, and I'd turn around and go back down the ladder.
I've done that a couple of times myself at the Brighton Baths,
And
thinking I can do this, and you get up there. Oh, no.
That's actually quite right. That's happened to me as well.
Yeah.
That is,
Eyes bigger than sort of thing.
How many
That's-
times have you been on the top of the Brighton Bar?
oh, well, not at the Brighton Baths. This was at what pool would it have? Excuse me. What pool would it have been? Was it?
Yeah,
was
in
it
Brisbane, wasn't it?
No. It was here when I was going through this fitness craze. As you can see, it hasn't lasted. But
It might have been the Richmond Baths
I think it
near
was
Channel
Richmond.
9.
I think it was Richmond. I can't remember
Yeah.
the baths, but I got up there and I thought, oh my Lord, I'm not doing this. I'll break my neck. And so I just clambered down again and pretended.
no,
that
Do you
terrible
remember
mistake.
the odd relative who would come in? Hello, Dada, how are you? Uncle, how are you keeping?
I had a great aunt that used to scare me. I did all of it. I hate to admit it, but I only see her. Oh no, I saw her fairly often. My goodness me, she used to scare me.
Yeah,
she
no.
spoke far too close to your
Yes,
face.
oh, yes.
She reeked of cigarette smoke.
That's right.
And when you're 4 or 5, you know, and she was probably a lovely lady, but she did, Bruce.
Oh, yes, I know.
Well, maybe people have got something like that. Give
Too
us a
close
call.
for comfort.
Too close for
Who
comfort.
was that person that scared you? 96900 693, 96900 693.
I think Ruth would like to talk to Peter and Andrew.
Hello, Ruth.
Hello, boys. How are you?
Good.
And lovely to hear you, Andrew, and always gorgeous to hear you.
Thank
but
you.
I just want to say, you know, when you're talking about earlier, Bruce was saying how you have that awful sensation of sleepwalking. You know how sometimes when you get into bed and you're overtired and you get that sensation of falling or something, and you jolt from it. But as a kid, what used to frighten me was the sound of the Twilight Zone. And I'd have to sleep with the light on in the corridor after that show.
Yeah, I can imagine that, and what that show represented, especially to a kid with all those very quirky stories.
Yes, and I mean, I'll never forget the one which was the very first one I saw, and it had a young William Shatner in it, and he was playing a man who'd had a nervous breakdown and was afraid of flying, and was forced to go onto this plane. And then he looks out of the window seat at one point and sees this gremlin thing that's
On
been
the wing.
pulling at the wing.
Yes.
And then he looks around and he says, it's not there, it's not there, it's not there. And he looks around again and there it is staring at him. So I was banned from watching it because I'd have nightmares. But certain things like that. And I always say, too, even with little kids, I never force them to sort of come up and give me a kiss kind of thing. I blow them a kiss because I used to get a bit... I had a couple of creepy old aunts like that too. Like, nothing wrong with them, but they were so ancient that you just sort of...
Yeah. And from a child's perspective, they do seem a bit frightening,
They
don't
must have been about 30 or something.
The ladies of that era had a particular smell from when they opened their handbag on their handkerchief, one to blow and one to show, was this stuff called Rawley's Ready Relief, which was lavender, rosemary, and eucalyptus. And it was a smell you got at intermission at the theatre when you were going to see My Fair Lady or something. It was just this thing. And to me, a girlfriend of mine uses that product, and I say to her, "Oh God, you're like one of my ancient aunts."
Oh, wonderful, Ruth.
So isn't it strange?
You've said this.
And they say smell brings back memory better than anything too.
Yeah, you're
So
right.
I try not to smell like the modern equivalent with thingo oils, essential oils. I don't want my little nieces to grow up and think, oh, she's all stank of neroli or something.
You've set the scene so beautifully, because My Fair Lady was the show that everybody was going along to at that era.
Yes.
Oh my gosh! And at interval, you'd probably have those lovely little scorched almonds, just a couple, just to see you through. And it was something that you'd remember, long remember. Oh, that show was so glamorous.
Oh, it was.
And when you think about it now, well, maybe not quite so glamorous.
No.
I must say, I also had an aunt, and her name was Aunt Florence, but she used to give us 2 and 6. Which were called Florins. So we all called her Aunt Florin, because that was our little Christmas present from Aunt Florence. And she was also fairly scary and of the sort of 1,000-year-old persuasion.
Yes,
you know,
yes.
she looked, I thought at the time she's impossibly old, and she must have been 40. So, you know,
Yes, yeah,
just
I
the
know.
way it is.
But from a kid's eye, you know, that's how it was.
My grandmother smelt of smelling salts.
Oh, yes.
I think if they ever felt faint, they had a little crystal.
They did. It was 7-Eleven, wasn't it? A little tiny green
might have been.
bottle.
Yes.
That's right.
And,
Yes.
you know,
4-7-Eleven, I think it was
they,
called.
they would sniff the smelling
And there was
salts.
always an uncle who he was down the back in the lane putting bets on, and he came in with California Poppy or
yes.
Straight 8.
Yes, California Poppy, I forgot about that.
So true.
And of course, there's always Brill Cream. I heard you talking about Brill Cream the other night. I
little
remember
dabble
when.
deer, yeah.
Yes. Oh, that's terrific.
California poppy, too. That was a yellowy, oily
Yes,
thing.
it was.
And do you remember how greasy our hair used to look? We all looked like John Darcy at one time, didn't
But
we?
you'd go into a barber and you'd say you could have the Tony Curtis back look.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that funny?
Funny, you put it on the front of your head. That
Yeah, that's right, yes, over my eyes.
You always wanted to be different, though, didn't you?
That's right, yes.
Almost kinky.
There's a kiss curl up my nostril.
And also, not long after that, the next big period, of course, was the 70s. And I was listening today or yesterday. I heard Tom Elliott talking about foods from the 70s, and he brought back visions and the smell and taste of avocado vinaigrette. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And the seafood cocktail, which of course was prawns and shrimps and things with mayonnaise and a bit of tomato sauce, and it was
Quite
very
lovely.
stylish.
Quite lovely.
And may I introduce into 70s cuisine, there was the pepper steak. I first seem to remember arriving at that stage.
Yes.
The cooked T-bone smothered in pepper sauce.
That's right.
Yes.
And after that, we'll have chicken in a basket.
Yes. And a bottle of
red
Chianti.
checked cloth.
Yes, that's right.
And who'd care for a fondue with some Portuguese rosé mousse?
That's exactly right. Or Casal Garcia, which was the white. And you remember how delightful ivy looked growing out of those bottles in the window on the windowsill. Remember
yes,
that?
we all did that.
That was the.
Or you'd
Or
stick...
we had a candle
Yes.
with wax hanging over the side of it.
Yes.
Yeah, we would.
Oh, funny stuff.
Oh, good times.
I think we need to take a break, Mr. Mansfield.
I need to get going. It's
All right.
lovely to see you. Happy days, kids.
Thank you so much.
Good to see you,
Good
Bruce.
to
Good
hear you.
night.
Good to
night.
see you.
Thanks, Peter.
Bye.
Channel 9's Peter. Thanks, Alexandra.
Thanks, Bruce and Phil. Well, unfortunately, we have seen Leighton Hewitt exit the Australian Open in his 20th appearance. The 34-year-old has lost to Spanish 8th seed David Ferrer 6-2, 6-4, 6-4 on Rod Laver Arena. He really gave it all he had and giving it for every point, but it just wasn't enough as he let slip 7 break-point opportunities, in fact, in a single game of the second set. He will be back here tomorrow, however, when he plays in the second round of the doubles. And a good result for 26-year-old Queenslander John Millman. He's through to the third round of a Grand Slam for the first time. He beat Gilles Muller of Luxembourg in 5 sets, and Bernard Tomic was just serving for his match, but it's now 5 games all in the third set, and he leads 2-1 against Italian Simona Bolelli.
Okay, thank you, Alexandra. 24 minutes to 11, and we're talking about things that scared you as a child. They weren't intentionally out there to scare you, but they scared Andrew and me and Phil as well.
Yeah, the talk of ghosts, if anyone said the house is haunted, that was frightening.
969-100-693, 969-100-693. Mario's there, Andrew.
Hello, Mario.
Yeah, good evening. There was one program there when I was younger. Used to scare the living daylights out of me. That was a show called The Night Stalker, and I remember watching that show, and during a commercial break or after it finished, we'd, walk around the house, or we'd have to go to the toilet, and as I'd come out, I'd have older brothers that would scare the living daylights out of me, just hiding and after watching that show.
Can you remember who was the star of it? Who was the actor?
Was it Darren McGavin?
That's
Oh,
right.
was it Darren McGavin?
Yes.
Oh, good actor.
Remember him?
Yes, I do.
I don't remember the show. Do you, Bruce?
Yes, I do.
I just don't. Phil?
He was an
Yes.
After Dark detective, wasn't he, Phil?
Yes, was on 9 very early on. Mario, what age group are you?
Yeah.
I'm 47.
Yeah, that's right. You'd remember it fondly.
Very impressionable. And on radio, there was Marley, your ghost host. Remember him?
What was that? The Inner Sanctum?
The Inner Sanctum.
Yes.
Night Beat.
Yes, a D24,
Yeah.
scary stuff.
Yeah, for kids they weren't they?
Yeah,
A lot of
they
those
were.
Unfortunately, I don't remember the Inner Sanctum. I hear people talk about it. It passed me by, sadly.
It's scary.
Yeah.
Radio was more scary because it was the theatre of the mind.
Oh, yeah, lying there in your bed at night.
In the dark?
Yes.
With just that Arrowstone globe.
Yes, that green
That
glow.
dull green.
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Bronny's there, boys.
How are we, boys?
G'day.
Hey, what a great night.
Oh, yes.
And what great subjects. My father had this aunt, and she had a dairy property outside Benalla at a place called Winton. And, of course, her husband had died quite a bit earlier, so she was running the property on her own with her only daughter, and the daughter was more like a bloke, you know, because she'd always been out in the paddocks looking after the milking the cows and doing everything. And as children, we were packed up, like my two brothers and I were packed up to go and stay with them and give the parents a break and give us a holiday. Anyway, she didn't like girls. She really did not like girls. She liked my brothers very much because they were boys and she needed help around the farm. So what she used to do was make me stay at the house while the boys were allowed up at the shed. And on top of that, when she'd come in after the day in the paddocks and everything, she would go to the stove where one day she would have stew. So what she'd do is she'd thicken up this big cast iron pot on the top of a wood stove, and one day she'd put more vegetables in and meat, and the next day she'd thin it down again and we'd have soup. Well, you can imagine they never got to the bottom of the pot.
Yuck.
Yeah, but this is this is typical country, you know, when they have no time and they have to be fairly, I suppose, time poor and just make food. Oh, God!
Are you speaking to me?
I am listening.
Well, you've won a trip to anywhere in Australia thanks to Tigerair.
I'm so thrilled, Bruce, because I haven't been back to Perth since I left school.
Is that right? How long ago was that?
1967?
Well, you're off now.
And,
Oh, look, I'm delighted.
and take someone with you, of course.
Of
with
course.
Tigerair.
I'd be delighted, boys. Can I finish that story for a minute?
Yes,
Well,
of course.
just, very quickly, yep.
Yeah, well, what happened was I ended up getting heartburn all the time, and at one stage they rushed me to Wangaratta Hospital, and it was the food.
Oh.
Oh, dear.
Oh, dear.
I was only 6 years old.
And you've been fed rubbish.
No, I promise you, Ronnie, no heartburn, no heartache with Tigerair.
Oh, that's so lovely, boys. I have not been back to Western Australia since I left school.
Well, you're also in the draw for the major prize of a return airfare and a week's accommodation for the whole family at the Hotel Mercure Bali Legion, thanks to Tigerair, who fly directly from Melbourne to Bali daily starting the 23rd of March.
I'm absolutely thrilled. So thank you so much.
Now, Bronny, for heaven's sake, don't hang up, because Bianca will give you all the details. Hold that line. Okay, 19 to 11. It's checking what's in the Herald Sun tomorrow morning. Michelle Ainsworth. Good evening, Michelle.
Good evening, gentlemen. We're currently updating our front page as we speak with Leighton Hewish as he walks off the court for the last time. But otherwise, in terms of other news, we've got a story about the new comprehensive cancer centre that'll open later this year, and there's one flaw on it that we've heard the government won't allow a private hospital to operate out of, as it was originally planned to. But what will happen is because they dumped it, it's going to open empty. It wouldn't have opened until next year, but there won't be anything there yet because they haven't figured out what will replace the private hospital. So,
Right.
bit of things to work out there. And in an interesting one, we've actually got a story that could see everyone's veggie prices go up. The farmers in Werribee are saying that they need better water equipment and catchments because it's causing too much salt in their soil, and it's badly affecting their veggies. Now, they grow 85% of Victoria's cauliflowers and half of our broccoli. So if you are a fan of your vegetables, you might have a little trouble getting them if Werribee farmers can't get some better water.
Okay, and you've got the cars lifted out tomorrow, haven't you?
We do indeed.
All right, Michelle, thank you for that. That's in the Herald Sun tomorrow. Now, it's 11:15. We've got Sally at Murrumbeena. If you'd like to keep that topic up of things that scared you as a child, we've got Andrew here. Yes, Andrew?
I'm here. I'm eager.
No, I'm not scaring anybody. I was just listening to the watching the tennis tonight, and I was really surprised that Leighton didn't say anything about Darren Cowell, who coached him from the youngest player to number one, and he also got Andre Agassi from the oldest player to number one, and I didn't understand why he didn't say that.
Well, who knows why? It might have been an oversight. He would have been exhausted. He would have been emotionally drained after
losing. And of course, as
losing.
we mentioned the other night, about 2 weeks ago, there was a wonderful documentary on his coach.
Yes, exactly.
For about half an hour.
Yeah, he would have got a credit then.
There was certainly a big tribute there. Helen at Mount Waverley, good evening.
Hello. I want to talk about a falling out of bed accident.
Oh, yes, like mine, yes.
Yep. In 1963, I was going to England on the Fair Sky with my sister on the boat, and we weren't in the same cabin. I was in the cabin with a lot of people that were like me. They were not morning people. My sister's a morning person. One morning she came to see how I was. She banged on the door and nobody answered. And all of a sudden she heard a great big thud, and it was me falling out of the top bunk onto the floor.
Well, and did you
I got a fright.
injure yourself?
I got a fright from her knocking on the door, and I jumped out of bed and forgot I was in the top bunk. And I didn't say anything for a while because I was a bit stunned, and she thought I'd killed myself. I had something wrong with my hip ever since I was young too, which made her even worse worried.
I understand.
So that was my...
Oh, that's quite a story. Helen, you seem to have come through it all right, 53 years later. You're still plugging away.
I have a new hip there now. I got a new one there a few years ago.
Yes. Well, just be careful falling out of bunks and double beds.
Yes, yes.
Strap yourself in.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I do every night. I have rubber
Yeah.
bands that are attached over each side of my bed. Joanne,
Yes.
It's the last thing she does before she kisses me goodnight.
You're like that man in Misery, the movie that, what was her name?
Kathy Bates.
Kathy Bates.
Well, yes, this is a little more gentle, but
he was strapped in like
yeah,
you.
well, I am too.
Elastic bands everywhere.
But you're strapped in so you don't become too amorous, I believe.
That's one of the reasons, but
Yeah.
Anyway, that's something that I look forward to.
But you've
every night.
overcome that amorosity, haven't you?
Very well, and of course, toilet breaks are difficult. I have to call for Joanne, but even so, and she reattaches everything, and then
That's right.
Yeah,
and then they become staples later on in the night. Who's there, Phil?
Felicity at Dramana. Hello, Felicity.
Hello, boys. How are you?
G'day.
I'm sort of a little bit off topic, but I am on topic. I just thought I would like to acknowledge the volunteers of the Dramana CFA. We had a fire here on Tuesday night at 11 o'clock at night in the bush, and these volunteers, they just do such an amazing job, coming out at 11 o'clock at night, leaving their family at home to protect us and our property, and I'm just very, very grateful. So I just thought I wanted to acknowledge our local CFA members because they do such an amazing job.
Yes, and not just down there, but everywhere.
Everywhere,
This season.
Yeah, and they come out of their homes and they're leaving their own family and property behind, and I'm just, if the wind had swung around, we would have been in all sorts of trouble. So I just thought, you know what, I'm going to ring and acknowledge these Captain Tim and his team that just really, I'm so grateful to them.
As far as I'm concerned, Felicity, there can't be enough praise for these guys
Well, they
and
can't,
girls. No,
they're just fabulous, and they are the real heroes. So,
Yeah, and when they talk about sports stars being heroes,
Yeah.
no offence to Leighton or any of the footballers, but come on, these are the people who are heroes in our society.
To our local CFA volunteers, I say thank you, and thankfully the wind didn't turn around because, as I said, if it did, we would have been in all sorts of trouble. So,
Now, Felicity, I want you to hold the line because Bianca is on all fours looking for a Bataki mini easy cut ham.
thank you very much.
A Bataki is simply the best. Don't hang up, Felicity, just hold the line. Andrew, thank you for being with us. We're going to take, what's next there, Phil?
Well, we're going to take a break and then we'll have the passing break. So come back and say goodbye to us before John Doremus.
I'll do that, quickly insert myself.
Peace of mind.
It's lovely to be here. And
Now, are you at the tennis tomorrow?
I'll be there for Friday lunch, that's right, and it's been great just to set a spell with you guys, I'll tell you that, and chaw some baccy together.
Oh, man, you can...
What are you and Joanne doing on Australia Day?
I keep on making more returns than I thought I was gone.
We've got 2 minutes.
2 minutes! Oh, for heaven's sake. What are we on Australia Day? Oh, yeah, we're going to wear a hat with corks hanging off it and...
oh, good, and an apron.
And call each other cobber all day.
Yes.
Yeah, and read C.J. Dennis stories to each other. We do the whole thing, man.
It's a barbecue, isn't it, man?
Oh, yeah, you betcha. And did you ever see... I'm sorry, this is a sore point with me. Until the Paul Hogan campaign in the 1980s, did you ever see a prawn on an Australian barbecue?
Never, ever.
Never heard of such a thing in my life.
No, let's put a prawn on the barbie. Mate, you don't do that. Stick a stag.
Yeah, that was all. Or a chop until it's absolutely black.
Black as...
I thought you and Joanne might be having one of those dinner parties with Vegemite sandwiches under the stairs.
Oh, well, one day you'll get an invite to that, Phil.
Oh, really?
If
But
you're very good.
I don't play poker, so I don't get a Guernsey, perhaps.
Sorry.
All right, we must away now, Andrew. Thank you
you
so much. Look forward to seeing you next time. Andrew McLaren on Nightline.
Hello again. This is John Doremus with a passing parade of the story of a man who was known as the Prince of Thieves. His name was Arthur Berry. And when he died in 1958, he left behind him a mystery that will probably never be solved. On his deathbed, he insisted he had squandered loot worth more than $10 million in gambling and riotous living.
The difference the brightening discovery in new Persil makes to your wash. See how Persil whiteness stands out.
New Persil washes even whiter, even whiter. New Persil washes even whiter.
Try new Persil with the brightening discovery today.
Arthur Berry was born to a respectable, hard-working couple in Worcester, Massachusetts in October of 1890. In his late teens, he toyed with the idea of becoming a surgeon, but decided the training would bore him. Instead, he took to burglary, setting up headquarters in New York. He worked for months to perfect his robbery technique. He had a formula for crime. He studied the social pages and memorized the train schedules for the area he intended to work. Days in advance of a burglary, he would case his target. If his intended victim had a watchdog, he would feed it chicken sandwiches while he waited for the owner to leave the house. From a study of train movements, police routine, and the habits of his victims, he devised a tight schedule with which he operated successfully for years. Accepted as a man of wealth and social position, Berry was often invited to exclusive parties. On September 9th, 1924, he attended a function at the Cosden Estate on Long Island and was introduced to Lord Louis Mountbatten and his wife. He also met the guest of honor, Edward, the Prince of Wales. About half an hour after his arrival, Berry quietly left the ballroom and slipped upstairs to the master bedroom. In the right-hand drawer of a low dressing table, he came on a cache of diamond necklaces and bracelets, the property of Lady Mountbatten. Stuffing them into his pockets, he returned to the ballroom, with no one any the wiser, until the theft was discovered, by which time Berry had disposed of the loot. When police inquiries in New York began worrying him, he took off for Paris. Mixing in the smart tourist set, he met Anna Blake, a blonde sophisticate, 10 years his senior, who duly became his wife. On his return to America, he pulled off a number of sensational robberies, but returning was a mistake. Inevitably, the law caught up with him. Arrested in New York in June of 1927, he was sentenced to 25 years imprisonment. In July the following year, he escaped from Auburn jail during a prison riot. And although wounded by 2 bullets, he managed to reach Syracuse, 26 miles away, before abandoning the car he had stolen outside the jail. In due course, he rejoined his wife, and together they moved into an apartment in Newark, New Jersey. For 3 years, Berry lived respectably. He even took a job as a windscreen wiper salesman. But just when he was beginning to feel safe for the law, he was recaptured and returned to Auburn jail to complete his sentence. In November 1949, still a dapper man, he was released.
Stephen King's over there as we look at today's weather. A little bit overcast, wasn't it, Stephen?
Yeah, it was cloudy for much of all of morning and then even into the afternoon, so that took a while to clear, but we did get there in the end and got a bit of sunshine towards the end of the day, and we still got up to about 27 degrees, about 5:30.
Not bad. What's the overnight low looking like, Stephen?
Overnight low should be around 18. We're sitting only just a bit above, 18.7 at the moment, so it's not really going to get any lower. And by morning, we'll probably see a bit of rain develop as well.
Right.
So that'll linger for most of the morning. We might get a little bit of a break around lunchtime, but we'll probably see some thunderstorms develop in the early afternoon. So there's possibility that we might get some heavy rain with that. We're saying generally 8 to 20 mils around the city, but potentially more if you're directly under a thunderstorm. Getting up to 25 degrees, though, otherwise, and remaining humid.
That rain very welcome, though, Stephen.
Yeah, it should be good for the gardens if we all get a bit of a drop.
And how's the weather for the tennis on Saturday, please?
All right. Well, we get much cooler and drier conditions for the next few days after that. So just a morning shower or two on Saturday, bit of sunshine in the afternoon, but only getting up to 22. And on Sunday, again, some morning drizzle, and then getting up to 24, again with some sunny periods in the afternoon.
And into next week now?
Next week, just remaining fairly cool, just temperatures in the low-ish 20s, eventually getting up to maybe 26 this time next week.
Okay. Sounds all right to us, Stephen. Thank you very much for that.
You're welcome.
A low of 18 degrees overnight, a mild night on the way, rain and thunderstorms tomorrow, and a top of 25.
It's been very humid, hasn't it, and sticky.
Yes, it has. Yes.
And you heard where we've had the hottest
2015
on record around the world.
Yes,
absolutely.
I think because of the El Nino.
Oh, you're probably right. Yeah, or El Nino even.
El Nino and El Nino?
Yes, perhaps you're right.
Remember the era of the fluorocarbons? There's always been something in the air.
Oh, the fluorocarbons, yes.
Yes, the same stuff that goes into refrigerators.
Yeah.
That's permeating the atmosphere.
That's right, the EPA was always warning us.
That's right. Now, you can't have an incinerator because that's going to cause the fluorocarbons.
Yeah, and no lighting leaves in the gutter.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
So it's the era of what's flying around out there and no more fires.
You're welcome to my incinerator. It's just sitting in the backyard. If you'd like it.
That's illegal?
No, turn it into a barbecue.
Oh, yeah? Is that legal?
Well, that is, but the steaks are going to cook, aren't they?
Oh, strike, you're going to have a great ox there. Chris, good evening.
Hi, Chris. Thanks for waiting.
Chris of Broadmeadows. You might get some breaking news within the next 48 to 72 hours about the standardisation of cricket bats. As people have realised just recently, Usman Khawaja is using a very unusual bat. He's from the front blade to the back of the bat, it's about 2.5 to 3 inches thick. And naturally, when he hits the ball, they fly off for 4 or even 6 without hardly even making a rash shot at it. And as you know, he's made 3 centuries virtually in a row in the Big Bash. So he's made 1 century, 160, and another century tonight, and made a century or 2 for Australia. And I think the International Cricket Board, which I think is still situated in England, will probably make a decision on standardising these bats within coming days. So it could be breaking news. The Channel 10 commentators sort of erred on the side of caution. They didn't make any comment, but they just sort of said, yeah, it is very thick, and they couldn't get into controversial things in the middle of a big match.
They couldn't, not in the middle of a match, but that might come out of the wash in the next day or something.
I think everyone should use the same bat.
Phyllis in South Yarra. Phyllis, good evening.
Good evening to you both.
Thank you for waiting.
And the dance on Tuesday night is at the Move Along Park Bowl again for the Australian Day dance. And also Williamstown is Senior Citizens Hall on the corner of Melbourne Road and Ferguson Street this Saturday night. They are both good dancers.
Okay, sounds all right to us.
Cheerios.
Yeah.
Carl and John Lilydale, Charlie and Nancy Faulkner, Joan for Faulkner, Pat from Northcote, Sue from Mill Park, Peter Wangeretta, Pat and his wife, and also his staff. Thank you, Adam.
All right, okay, we'll leave it there, Phyllis. Thank you for that.
Talk to you next week.
Hello, Jeff. Good evening.
Oh, g'day there, Bruce and Phil. Look, firstly, let me tell you that anyone out driving tonight, all of the freeways are absolutely hectic. There's roadworks on the Monash, roadworks on the Balti, the Tullamarine. It's just absolutely a nightmare out there tonight. So if you've got to go to somewhere, make sure you're allowed a bit extra time, even though it is late at night. So, but look, guys, you were talking earlier about things that frightened you as a kid, and also I heard you talking about some of those smells that reminded you of a great aunt or something like that.
Yes.
Well, let me first talk about what used to frighten me as a young child, and I look at it now and think how humorous it is, and that was Deadly Ernest.
Oh, Deadly Ernest, yes.
Oh, yeah. Channel O, late on a Friday night.
I remember he'd have his hand and he'd call it claw, and it would grab him around the throat, and I think from memory he had, didn't he have Igor, was some sort of dog or something that was under the stairs? Is that right?
Yes, he did.
Right?
Yes,
yeah.
he did.
Yeah, so that one, and you look now and think, oh, how silly it was, but as a young, impressionable kid, that certainly gets you. But as far as the smells goes, guys, I think, yes, I've had an aunt and stuff, and one of your callers said it smells so good at taking you back to a time that there was a chap that I worked with in the mid to late 70s, and you could sort of smell him coming from the next room because he used to completely cover himself in Brute 33. Yeah, it was an incredible smell. That I don't know whether it's on the market, but yeah. So they were just a couple of things flashed back to me when you were talking.
Very
earlier.
good, Jeff. That was powerful. It was like Kero, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, a couple of drops of D, wouldn't it?
But aftershave in those days was like kerosene. It was there was nothing perfume about it. It was just harsh.
Yeah, a couple I remember. Brut 33. Arpege was another one for men.
Yeah, but they had quite a nice perfume.
Uh-huh.
The others was like sump oil.
Yeah, sadly. Yeah, people would douse themselves in
Oh,
it.
yes.
Yeah.
Meryl, good evening.
Hi, Bruce and Phil. Arsenic and Old Lace, the film, frightened me for all of my childhood, and I still have trouble sitting on a padded window seat.
Oh,
yeah, Cary Grant, wasn't it?
Yeah, Peter Lorre was the scary one.
Oh,
Cary Grant
yes,
was
okay.
funny, but Peter Lorre frightened the wits out of me.
Yes.
And I don't really know why. I mean, I've watched it now and it's not quite so scary, but as a child it frightened me something terrible.
Yes, you never forget these things, do you?
You don't. Can I have a second to say thank you for everybody for their kind wishes about my husband Clive, who is much better.
Oh, good news.
He's coming along well. He's still in intensive care. It's about 3 weeks now, but he's improving.
Oh, give him our very special love, Meryl.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure.
Oh, that's a big relief, Meryl.
Okay, thank you for the call. Yes, the people, not only the smells that irritated you or brought back memories, but the people that scared you.
Yes.
Like, as Andrew said, clowns, for example.
Yeah.
Or Father Christmas.
And you know, you could, if you're in the city and you just to get some of these street people who are sort of sleeping overnight on the street, they'd frighten you with their beards.
Oh, yes, yes.
You know, they looked a bit ferocious.
And the blokes as well. Joan at Nunawading.
Hello, Bruce and Phil.
Hello, Joan.
Hello, Philip. Bruce, you mentioned earlier tonight smelling salts and the little green bottle that they're in.
Yes.
Would you believe I've still got a little green bottle of smelling salts?
I'll guarantee I've got one of my mother's at home somewhere too.
And I think it belonged to my mother-in-law, so I'd say it's probably 60 or 70 years old. And I can just make out on the top of the bottle, Potter and Moore.
Oh, it was too.
Yeah.
And a lady with a big hat and I think a stagecoach.
That's right, yeah, that's what I probably can see on the top of the bottle, I think.
Yes.
And when I shake the bottle, there's still got smelling salts in it, but I've never been game to open it.
Oh, how wonderful, Joan! That you know, Rick Milner like that. That could be a collector's item. That could be worth money.
Oh, it's not. You stick a nostril in it.
It's a beautiful little bottle. bottle. It's, you know, nicely shaped, and it's got sort of ripples on the outside of the bottle.
But
You
it just
probably remember it, Bruce.
it fitted into handbags very nicely, didn't it?
That's right, it would have. Could I also tell you, last night you had a phone call from Bronny, who talked about Ron Corbett of Southdown Press.
Yeah.
My husband worked at Southdown Press, and Ron Corbett was his boss.
Uh-huh.
And I rang Ron. Ron's still going well. I'd say he's still got in good health. And I rang him and told him that he was mentioned on the radio last night. And he remembers going to it was a conference in Sydney that they went to.
That's right.
And they all thought he was Ronnie Corbett, the comedian.
That's right.
And he said he turned up there. My husband went with him, he reminded me. And he said they had a king-size room for him, and champagne was laid on and everything else. And the others, of course, all had to sleep in ordinary rooms.
Yeah.
But he had to tell them that he wasn't Ronnie Corbett, the comedian, but they let him keep the room and they let him have the champagne.
Oh, good. All right, Joan, if you hold the line, we'll organise through Bianca a $50 pancake parlour voucher for you.
Oh, thank you so much.
So go to the Pancake Parlour, open 24 hours at High Point, Doncaster and Malvern East, and it's just lovely there. You'll have a feast of pancakes and have a great day. Joan, are you still there? Joan?
Oh, he would just love it.
Please hold the line. Don't hang up.
Thank you, Bruce and Phil.
17 past 11.
You know, the last thing I do at the moment is buy a caravan. I don't need one, but I just love going down there and walking through them and just looking at all the
chrome.
chrome.
Yeah, but just for the sake of Jaco, that you would pick up a caravan if you wanted to buy one this weekend.
Yeah, but I just love going down there and looking at them all.
That just means nothing. If everyone goes down looking, nobody lives.
Sorry, buddy, I have no plans to buy one.
Oh.
I might go down for the jumping castle.
Stick a sausage in your pants. 22 minutes past 11. Cameron and Berwick.
Oh, yes. Hi, Urs and Philip. And I think, did you say yesterday, Urs, that Uncle Andy was coming on after, and then it was Luke...
No, you got it wrong. We had Andrew for our first hour tonight, as we will every Thursday night.
Oh, okay. I wasn't aware of that, so that clears that up, all righty. Yes, and can everyone please say a prayer for Sandra? She's still they're wanting to kick her out of the hospital, but she's still not able to move.
All right.
And I'm very concerned long term, of course, naturally, because she, looking after herself at home is going to be.
Okay, everyone, prayers for Sandra, please.
Yes, please. Thanks, Philip. And does anyone know what? Because I saw them at the Fountain Gate shopping mall, the pepper tomatoes. And has anyone ever heard? Have you heard of them, Boss?
Pepper tomatoes?
Are we talking about red peppers?
They're little
pepper tomatoes. No, I haven't.
They're like cherry tomatoes, but they look like they're in the shape of, but they're the size of cherry tomatoes or plums, but they're in the shape of the red peppers or red pepper, like the bell peppers or the capsicums. And I've never seen them before.
No.
Never heard of it. I'm just wondering if any of the callers have heard of pepper tomatoes.
Good point. If you've heard of that, you can give us a call and let us know. 96900 693. Thank you, Cameron. Brendan.
Yeah, but you knew when he started.
Oh, yes.
Putting on that false voice.
And we used the dump button, so you never went to air.
And you're not Brendan, and you don't live in Ballarat.
You're an idiot. Ian at Watsonia.
Or Jan, perhaps.
Oh, sorry, boys. I thought for a minute there I'd changed sex. Yeah, a couple of things that scared me. It was, believe it or not, at my grandmother's place. She used to have an outside toilet, and this was when I was about 8 or 9, and when we used to stay there, we'd go out before it was dark, and we'd use the outside loo, as it was called, and then we had the pro inside, and the men used to come around with the horse and stuff and empty out the toilet. But I had this idea that the pro was going to somehow suck me in and get tipped into the toilet, and then the men and the horses were going to drag me away. So I would do hold on, and I'd go for a little squat outside rather than use the pro. And my grandmother also had one of those clotheslines. I don't know if you remember them, but it was just like a big piece of twine, and she used to have a pole that used to put it up.
That's right.
In the middle.
And then bring it down.
Yeah, and she used to have those dolly pegs on the top, and I used to think that they were going to come down and take my nose for some reason.
That's right.
and scary as. I mean, you know, the singer-song, the Sixpence poem that they used to have.
Yeah, pocket full of rye.
Yeah, I used to think that those pegs were like the blackbirds, and they were going to come and steal my nose.
Yes.
And I would sit underneath and Nana used to say to me, "Oh, come and help me with the clothesline." And I'd sit and I'd squat onto something else, and a couple of times it was the rose bushes. So I used to get scratched by the rose bushes. But yeah, scary things that your grandmother had, and even the pennies. Did your grandmother or your mother have a penny?
Oh, like an apron.
Yeah, and they used to have, sometimes they had the scariest type zigzag patterns and stuff on it.
Yes.
And Nana had one that had these massive great flowers on it.
That's right.
And when you sat on her lap, she'd kind of encompass you in that, and it was almost like the flowers were going to come and swallow you up.
Yeah, very much.
It should be comfortable, but it wasn't. It was actually a tad scary.
Oh, yeah, but you're over it now, Jan, I think.
But even in your own backyard, there were scary things. As you say, the pegs and the apron and all those things were scary.
If you had a vivid imagination.
Okay, Jan, thank you. Anne at Baldwin, good evening.
Hi, Bruce and Phil. How you going?
G'day, Anne.
I found, and this might sound really strange, I found the scariest thing ever when I was little was those ventriloquist dolls.
Oh, yes.
They just were, they used to give me the creeps, and I can't remember, I don't know whether anyone does, there was a movie where there was a particularly nasty doll that was just doing all this evil. I can't remember, but
I think Michael Caine was in that. It was a ventriloquist.
Oh, and it was so creepy. And you know, they have this sort of facade of being friendly and happy with that smile on their face, but that used to just do my head in.
Yeah, that's a beauty. Now, Andrew McLaren brought up the Andrew McLaren brought up the clowns, and I think the vent dolls were just as scary.
Even Punch and Judy, yes.
Punch and Judy was scary.
Absolutely.
So right. Listen to this, Anne, listen.
And you've won a double return ticket to any Tigerair destination in Australia.
Oh, my God.
Anywhere in Australia you want to go. Darwin, Gold Coast, Hobart, Melbourne. Thanks to Tigerair flying from the new Terminal 4 at Melbourne International Airport.
Sounds great.
And take a friend, and then in 2 weeks you'll be in the draw, along with everyone else, for return airfares and a week's accommodation for a whole family at the Hotel Mercure Bali Legion, thanks to Tigerair, who from March 23 fly direct from Melbourne to Bali.
That sounds wonderful, boys.
Are you thrilled with that? Where do you think you'll go?
Well, I'm not sure, but my daughter needs a bit of picking up at the moment. She's a bit down in the dumps, so I think we'll have a girls' weekend somewhere. It could be Perth, but
how lovely.
I'm not sure yet.
How wonderful.
Thank you.
Now, please don't hang up. Bianca will be with you. Get all the details, and congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Good night. I suppose even magicians could frighten you when they'd saw someone in half, for example.
Yes.
You know, you'd be really scared, wouldn't you?
Well, we've had some very good examples. The vent doll, the ventriloquist doll.
Yeah,
the
Punch and Judy.
The Punch and Judy.
I remember seeing The Illusionist only last week.
Father Christmas, for example.
Yeah.
Clowns.
Yeah. It was very scary watching the Houdini escape last week.
You're a grown bloke.
Yeah, but he was in water, you know,
it
and
wouldn't
padlocked.
matter. Well, what are you sitting there for then?
Well, I mean, we were all
Yeah,
scared.
it's not like you're a kid.
Yeah, but what, he could have drowned?
No, what are you going to do?
Well, get him on
mouth to
stage
mouth.
with an axe and smash the glass.
Tony at Warrenwood, good evening.
Yeah, good evening, boys. And Phil, I just thought I'd throw in a few products from the 80s.
Yes.
Especially the aftershave was, like you mentioned, one. And then I remembered Pinot. Do you remember Pinot from the 80s?
And was that an aftershave?
Yeah, it was like a little cone, like a little pine cone bottle.
Oh, yeah, and what
Green.
else? What else?
Fabergé.
Yes.
And, yeah, that's the two from the 80s that I was around at the time. There was
Yeah.
the Fabergé aftershave and the Pinot. That all the Italians and Greeks from the 80s used to always use Pinot.
Yeah, they did too. It was very, very popular, the old Pinot. Okay, Tony, thank you. What an exciting night at the tennis. Alexandra Factor.
Thank you, Bruce and Phil. Yes, we still have an Australian in action this evening. Bernard Tomic, the 16th seed. It's into a fourth set against Simona Bolelli of Italy. Tomic did have a chance to serve for the match in the third set, but then it went to a tiebreak. Game's on serve now. Tomic leading at 5-4 in the fourth set. The winner will meet an Australian, John Millman, who's through to the third round for the first time at a Grand Slam. So if Tomic gets through tonight, we're then guaranteed an Aussie in the fourth round. And earlier, Leighton Hewitt, he farewelled singles tennis on Rod Laver Arena with a straight sets loss to Spanish 8th seed David Ferrer.
Okay, an exciting night. Thank you very much indeed, Alexandra. You know, if there's one...
We'll cope with that. We need some rain.
Queenie, good evening.
Yes, I tell you what, I'm waiting for that rain to get rid of the humidity.
Yes.
So are we.
Oh, is it terrible?
Uh-huh.
Anyway, what I wanted to say about Leighton Hewitt tonight, it was lovely when they sent the little kids out. His daughter Mia and a little Ava.
Oh.
And look, nobody sort of made anything of that. But look, they were just lovely, the kids. And he picked the little girl up and he said something to her. And they walked off the court with him right down all those halls of fame, you know, with the ball. And the little girl was talking to him.
Isn't that beautiful?
Oh, it was lovely, Bruce. I just thought, what a lovely father he is, and all these rubbish things they put in the magazines. He thanked his dad, and he said the last one he spoke about was Beck, and he said Beck was his rock. So,
oh, beautiful.
Yes, it was lovely. I was waiting for... I thought, if you don't say that,
you need to step across the face.
And he did say that Beck was up there in the stand, and he said she was his rock.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't have been able to do it if she wasn't.
No.
And I really do. I haven't been buying those magazines, you know, they tell lies on the page. And I really do. I'm a lot with Patty in that area.
Yeah.
But I wanted to speak to Patty the other night because she's having this other little girl, or is she having a little girl? I hope she does.
Yes, she is, yeah.
Yes, and I thought, well, you know, my great-grandchildren are up with yours and with hers. She'll have 4, and I've got 8 now, and Charlotte... You've got a Charlotte too.
That's right, yes, I have. Yes,
yes, and you've got an Amelia too.
Yeah, yes. Oh, they're glorious. They really are. Okay, Queenie, we must away.
Talk to you soon. Bye, Queenie. And hello, Jenny at Mill Park.
Hello, Bruce and Phil.
G'day.
I did want to talk about the topic, but just listening to Queenie, I wanted to add to that because I watched the game and I watched late, and it was very emotional. Actually, I did get teary. It was sad to see him finally retire.
Yes, it would.
Oh, and it was a hard game for him tonight.
Yeah.
It was really hard, but it was lovely. His kids came on, and he did thank all his coaches, Tony Roach and everyone. And it was difficult for him too. It's sad to see him go, but oh, look, we love him. He did make a beautiful farewell speech. He really did. And he did acknowledge Beck. He did. So I agree with Queenie. I hate all the rubbish they print in the magazines.
Yes.
But getting on your topic, you know what scared me as a young girl when I first started school? I went to a Catholic school. It was the nuns. I was so scared because their habits in those days, they were really long, not, you know, what it is today. And, of course, our order, the nuns had, the headpiece was quite a, the
pointy, I can't remember what order they were, and it was Mercy, but they had like a pointy little bit up the top.
Yes.
And then the rosary beads that hung out, I was only 5 and I didn't know what they were. I used to think it was something to reprimand us with because I was just, you know, a little child. But they did scare me, unfortunately, because they were in this heavy, dark, you know.
Yes, they were.
And yeah, it took a while.
Even in the middle of summer, it was a very heavy garb, wasn't it?
Yeah, you know, and for us boys, it was a priest's strap that used to scare us.
Oh, goodness.
Yes, exactly.
All right, Jenny. The funny things that used to scare us.
Yeah.
We could have a list as long as your arm.
Including nuns' habits.
Karen at Sunshine, good evening.
Hi, Bruce and Phil.
Yeah.
Yeah, things that used to scare me when I was young. When I was very small, I remember I hated the dark so much. I used to look out the window and I used to get under those bedclothes so quick. I was terrified of looking at the dark, you know, through the curtains. And then I remember once we went to the drive-in and we had to walk to the car. And I was terrified of all this dark, you know, where did it come from? As a child's mind, you think, oh, what is it, you know? And also, when I was at primary school, I used to hate the lining up for the injections. When they had the injections, I hated the injection in the hand, or arm it was, yeah. And that was, and I was also scared of witches. Like when I looked through the blinds, through the curtains, I thought there might be a witch out there. But as I grew older and went to Sunday school, I learned about God and I wasn't scared anymore.
Yep, the funny little stages in our life and what scares us.
And no one tonight has said they were scared of the dentist, have they? No one's mentioned that.
Yeah, that was a scary adventure, wasn't it?
Still is for some people.
Anne at Vermont, good evening.
Hi, Bruce and Phil.
Hello.
I want to thank you. Happy New Year and everything. I received a beautiful Christmas card from you. Absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, and thank you for yours.
Yeah, thank you. I love your dog, Phil.
He's gorgeous. Yes.
Beautiful. A little twitty. The thing, I love listening in every time. You sent the hamper to me, which was magnificent. We had a fantastic Christmas, and everyone said, how come you got it? I said, because Bruce and Phil are my pals.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And I've still got the card hanging up inside. All the others are gone. But as you were saying, because I love listening because you're so professional and interesting and all the gang. But the creepy movie was The Blob. Can you remember The Blob?
It was creeping under the
the green
under the doors.
Yes, with my sister. I'm Catholic, and there was 10 children in our family, 5 boys and 5 girls. And my younger sister was terribly naughty, so another sister and I said, the Blob's going to come. And it was a hot night and pulled down the window, so we were a bit cheeky.
Oh, a bit nasty too, Anne.
There's been a real drought, hasn't it? Our dams are down to about 70% capacity.
Thanks so much.
Welcome.
Peter at Deniliquin, good evening.
Yes, good evening, Bruce and Phil.
Hi there.
Yeah, how are you tonight?
Good, thanks for calling in.
Yeah, that's good. Philip Brady. Now, he won't know me, but I was on the banks of the Yarra in 1984 after my mother died, and the fireworks was on, so I sat down there and Philip Brady hosted that. He might remember that or he might not. But he was there in person.
Yes.
And I was there on the banks of the Yarra, so I enjoyed that night.
Good for you.
It was thanks to Philip Brady and everybody else that was there.
Yeah, great night we had, Peter.
You did. Now, a couple of things. One on who fell out of bed last night.
Oh, that was also Philip, yes.
Yes, now, Philip, his dog is a man's best friend.
Yeah.
His dog was barking and he woke up. Now, had dog not barking and woke him up, he would have fallen. He said he was falling into a river or whatever. Now, had he fallen, it's not the fall that kills you, it's a sudden stop at the bottom. And if you dream like that, I've heard an expert on dreams, if you're falling and you don't wake up before you hit the bottom, you die.
It's but by the way, Oro didn't bark until after I had my fall. It was a reaction.
Oh, I thought the dog might have woke you up.
No, and he was outside. He wasn't on my bed.
That's right, and when the dog started, he had drowned. Thank you very much, Peter. Karen at Hoppers Crossing.
Hi, guys.
Hi, what's news, Karen?
You're not want to know. I've literally just this afternoon been released from Werribee Mercy. I got scratched by a girlfriend by accident 3 weeks ago, and it just turned to such a bad infection. It's just started to eat away the right side of my face.
Oh.
And I was supposed to hand over my house last Thursday, but of course I was in hospital.
Yes.
And it's just, I don't know, it's just getting worse and worse and nobody cares. I'm on a blooming New Start allowance and I have to rely on that. Not that I want to, but that was paying my bills.
Yes.
And I checked on the computer today and of course there's nothing there, and so I go down to Centrelink in my nightie, bawling my eyes out, and as usual, join the queue like everyone else. And then you get up there and the guy says, "What are you here for?" I said, "Because they've not paid." And I said, "I just want to, come with me. Sit there. I know you don't like waiting, but just sit on the phone." So 47 minutes later, I got somebody who fortunately was really understanding and said, "You sound really genuine and upset, Karen. I'm going to try and do something."
Yes.
But I'm just over it.
Well, you had the courage to ring us.
Listen,
what can we do to help?
We're desperately out of time. I want to take you off air, and I want to perhaps talk to you off air, and we'll look after you from that point of view and give you some contacts. It's very late to be doing something. We're running desperately out of time.
Or ring earlier tomorrow night, Karen.
That might be an idea, Karen,
After 10.
to give us a call.
Yeah.
Richard at Rye, good evening.
Good evening, Bruce and Phil. How are you?
Yeah, you'll be the last call of the night.
Yes, Richard.
I'm sad to talk after Karen there. It's terrible when you hear things like that.
No, we'll try and sort it out for her.
That's good. Bravo. What I was going to say, first of all, with the being scared, you probably won't believe this, but I used to be scared of a romper room.
Oh, why?
Because when the lady, I've forgotten what her name was, that she'd get the mirror and she'd come out and go, "Oh, I can see you."
Oh, yes, she did too, a magic mirror.
I can see you, and I used to go, "Hey, where is she? How can she see me?" And I'd hide her behind the couch or whatever. But what I really did ring about is about our homeless problem and homeless people. How can our government, Victorian government, get away with $1.1 billion on that east-west freeway, and yet they haven't got enough money to look after all of the people that we've got? And we've got to think about 26,000 people in Victoria, why can't they, think of something where... I've got plenty of ideas, but why don't they do it? Instead of building another stadium, or, worth millions and millions of dollars, what don't they really do with our money? Help them.
Yeah, accommodation for the homeless and feed them as well.
Yeah, mate.
Yeah, makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, I reckon, because, and I've got no problem with people coming from overseas. I've got no problem with that, as long as it's all by and all that. But we've got to look after our own backyard, don't we?
Yeah, and shamefully we ignore these people. We turn our backs, Sam.
Yeah, mate. All right, mate.
All right, Richard, thank you. Thank you for the call. It's 9 minutes.
With apologies to Rudyard Kipling's If, Dad talks with his teenage son. If you can drive your car when all about you the surging traffic hems and hampers you, and trust yourself when Dad and Mum doubt you, yet make allowance for that doubting too, if you can curb the urge to make it faster, if you can drive and not make speed your aim, if you can keep your temper when disaster is barely missed with someone else to blame, if you can stand to hear the horns are blowing yet give a fellow turning right a break, if you can bear to see the traffic flowing and wait and wait and wait for safety's sake, if you can drive in crowds and not be frantic and dodge the careless walkers all the while, if meeting with a crazy driver antic and keep your driving poise and still smile, If you can fill each dangerous highway minute with 60 seconds cautious driving done, then here's the car and all the petrol in it, and here are the keys. Good luck to you, my son.
Copyright restricts distribution of this piece by any means of duplication.
Well, thanks to many of you who have rung in to help Karen from Hoppers Crossing. She was upset earlier. Now, we suggest you contact the social worker at the hospital earlier today.
Yeah, do that tomorrow and ring us tomorrow night after 10 on the Friday Nightline.
We trust you had a wonderful night. We have on Nightline. Thank you so much to Andrew McLaren and Peter Hitchener. Really made the night a real party. The sun will come up tomorrow, and in fact, Luke Boner will be here to greet the brand new day with Australia overnight.
Yes, thanks for your company, folks. We appreciate these precious moments together.
Yeah, good night, Samuel, Carter, Amelia, Emily, Charlotte, Sweet Ella Grace, little William Oliver, and Sophia Grace.
And we look forward to tomorrow night. Something special about that Friday show.
I don't know what it is. I've never been able to tap into it. It's something of a men's hut or a men's shed.
Yeah, I sort of tear up my scripts and just fly it somehow.
You seem to be yourself on a Friday.
Yes, I don't know. It's like being back on television, Bruce.
Yes, right. It's quite repulsive.
Thanks, Bruce.
Thank you so much to all the people who have helped tonight.
Including Bianca Johnson.
Thank you, Bianca.
And happy birthday, Ken.
And, I forget that again on the screen. And that's the way she went today.